There we go. And we are live. Welcome, everyone, to the first ever Free Speech Rumble featuring Elvis versus Lewis. I am here. Jamie brought along with Charisma, as always, if you want to say hi.
Yeah, boy.
There you go.
It's your girl.
Oh,
I'm
Jesus.
Okay.
We
That's all
have
I'm
to-
saying for the whole stream.
We have to end it. It's already cringy. Jesus Christ. All right.
Who is that?
That was
Sorry.
Charisma, apparently.
It's only down here.
So I'll start off by quickly saying that Charisma and I have a kind of new setup. So if anything sounds weird, please let us know in the chat. If anyone's even watching, I don't know. But yeah, so we're doing a kind of different thing today. The other times we were doing casual chats in and out. This one we decided to name differently, the Free Speech Rumble, and there's a reason for that. The reason being is that we are having the infamous, Louise here, and quote unquote arch enemy. I coined that though, not really. Elvis here to talk about several topics with each other. So a lot of you people that are watching might not know Louise, might not know Elvis. Let me give a little bit of backstory here. If you're in the original free speech group, which is kind of why we started this whole podcast thing, we had a lot of people coming in and out of the group, and Louise, believe it or not, was pretty much the only lefty that would actually stick around. Every kind of left-leaning person, for the most part, would get upset at whether it be logic or reason or just jokes or bants or whatever, and they would leave after a week tops, maybe 2 weeks. Louise stuck it out, and what they would do is they kept posting, Louise here kept posting kind of, I don't even really know. Like, no one really knows. We're kind of here to figure that out as well. It would be baity, and we weren't really sure if Louise believed what they were saying or if it was just to bait people into freak out and rage, but it worked. That was the point. If the intent was to troll people and make them mad, it worked. And that's where
engagement, I think. Yeah.
And yeah, that's where we bring Elvis in here now, because Elvis, I've seen you time and time again just debate Louise into the ground, just with these long, drawn out paragraphs and everything, where Louise would say like one sentence or one word, and you'd be like, all right, we got to talk about this. And it would always get heated and it would always be funny. So I thought it'd be fun to bring it to voice, and let's see what happens here. So if I'm going to have you guys introduce yourselves, so I'm not the only one talking. So Louise, if you want to give yourself an introduction here, you can say whatever you like.
Hi, I'm Luis. That's my introduction. I would like to say that I love Free Speech, the group. I think it's an awesome group.
Sorry, I just the group, but not the thing. Yeah, sorry.
We're not even at the topics yet.
I like Free Speech, the group, because I like free speech.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the introduction to me.
Okay, that's it. Is there anything you like to shill or anything you like to? I guess just your account and how you like to bant around in it, right?
Yeah, I pretty much just like to bant around. Stuff I do post, I post it because it's maybe edgy. I don't know if it's edgy or not. I don't think it is, but I post things that I wouldn't post sometimes on my regular page.
I'm happy to hear that, honestly. I'm happy that you like it, you know. Even if we all have our differences, I think it's really cool that, you know, you're participating and that you stuck around. So
Yeah.
That was one of the reasons that we kept the group going and trying to keep it going, is because I personally had a lot of people message me and being like they really appreciated the group because they couldn't say these things to their normal friends or their normal family. Because I say normal because everyone in the group is fucked. So yeah, no, that's nice of you. Thank you. All right, so then we have the other person that is debating Louise here, or debating. We'll see what happens, and that is Elvis. So Elvis, if you want to give yourself an introduction.
Hi, I'm Elvis. Yeah, I post on Facebook sometimes. I'm passionate about some things, and I don't really have much to shill beyond that, I suppose. Yeah, I think I've responded mostly to Lewis in a great deal is because I actually do like debate and conversation. And
Yeah, me too.
I think conversation with the people with the same ideas a lot of the time is incestuous. It doesn't really lead anywhere. And I think like if you want your ideas to be strong, you should challenge them. And so you should seek out people who you disagree with very frequently so that you can kind of strengthen that muscle. And yeah, where I get into rants with you more frequently is more due to the entire history of your existence on Free Speech Group, which has been a little bit more antagonistic feeling for me because I'm more offended by you more recently.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. That's fine. And we'll get
Your
into stuff.
introduction was so good.
Oh, that's
'Cause, like,
adorable.
I second all that. Like, it's really good for debate and stuff. Like, I tried joining a debate group in my high school.
Okay. Well, I don't want to emphasize hate or harassment or bullying or anything like that. I mean, people talk shit, they do whatever, that's fine. But like, you don't have to go after people's jobs or whatever their personal life is. This is the forum we're talking in. Let's talk in this forum. Let's keep it to that and branch out as we see fit. But yeah.
No, I very much agree with that. And that's why one of our few rules of the free speech group is no doxing or threatening people. Yeah, you're kind of a bitch if you resort to that anyway, in my opinion. But anyway,
Agreed.
Good introductions. So let's get it on. I think Charisma, you want to start probably with that first one, right? You can agree with me there that that's a good one to start on.
Boy.
Let's start it off big. All right. First topic we're going to talk about until I get bored is we're going to talk everything and anything God Emperor Trump, President Trump. So you guys can talk about if you think he's doing a good job, if you think he's doing a bad job. Do you think he's racist? Do you think he's sexist? What do you think about?
I think that's his name, God Emperor President Trump. Isn't that contradictory? Because an emperor is like almost the opposite of president.
I don't think that's a name he gave himself, but yes.
No, but I mean for other people, just so they know that's like contradicting.
Well, I think that's why people use it. It's hyperbolic. God Emperor Trump is obviously a bit of a joke. It's an exaggeration. It's to emphasize how much support and a great deal. I think the reason why they call him God Emperor Trump is because it bothers the other side so much.
I find people who refer to him as God and Emperor as funny because like it's just kind of funny. Like,
I think the reason people do that is because people will call him literally Hitler, and so this is the response, the hyperbolic response to that, which is for all the people who are sensitive. This is
both those sides are really funny.
I find the God Emperor side funny because it seems intentional. When people say literally Hitler, not as funny because that seems more like they're being serious, which is scary.
Really? Because I talk to people on one side and it actually they think it's real that people believe like he's like the greatest thing in the world and he's gonna save everything.
Okay, sure. I think I don't think I've ever met anyone Jamie has called him God Emperor Trump all the time, but you usually laugh after you say that. Everybody tends to laugh, and then people could tend to believe in him. I don't think they actually believe he's a god, but I think people actually believe he's as bad as Hitler, which
and I think that's silly because like Hitler has a special place.
Sure.
Like that's you can't.
You can't.
Like, I don't think you can compare, really.
Sure, no, you can't. You shouldn't. But I guess in terms of opinion, I support Trump. I definitely support Trump more than Hillary. I am Canadian, though, so not really a Republican or a Democrat because those are not things for me. But I probably would have classified myself as a Democrat in the past. Now I probably wouldn't. Definitely wouldn't. But that's where my personal thoughts on Trump. He's not above reproach. If he does something wrong, then he does something wrong.
Yeah.
If he does something good, then there you go.
Yeah, same for me. But he does a lot of childish stuff.
Sure.
And
but you support him or not?
I can't see myself supporting someone who does those childish acts that he does.
What childish acts would those be?
Such as one recently I read where he basically said this restaurant was disgusting and dirty because they refused to give service to
His press.
who was it? Sarah Huckabee's?
Sure.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just find that extremely childish, and especially him calling football players who decide to protest son of a bitch and stuff. Like it's kind of childish. It's juvenile.
I don't think so. I think it's hyperbolic, and I think it's antagonizing, and it does antagonize. So I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, and antagonizing someone is, in my opinion, a little bit childish.
I agree. I agree with that. I tend to think his way of doing it is intentional. He's giving a shot. He's jabbing people, and I probably wouldn't choose to do those things all the time, but I think it's better than the alternative. And the alternative often is calling people racist, homophobic, etc., when they have said nothing that is specifically about those things. I think those are far more egregious.
I'm kind of thinking about that,
You're thinking about that?
Yeah, because like I didn't think about comparing those things at all.
Yeah.
But I don't appreciate that as a leader of my country. I wouldn't appreciate that. His behavior is something that I wouldn't connect. I wouldn't want it in my personal life. So I probably don't think that he represents my country as well as he should.
Well, I think it's smart. I mean, I think the stuff that's going on in Korea and things like this.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's good.
It's helped by this. Like, he's trying to project a persona, a no nonsense persona. He'll deride people. And frankly, it scares people. It puts people in line. They have to make a decision. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's good that he's
a good negotiator, and I think this shows that, because he will inflame people to inflame them. And I'm fine with that, because frankly, it's not against the law, and I don't think it's particularly.
Yeah, it's definitely not against the law.
It's just like, if you find it distasteful, okay, fine. Maybe
it definitely is distasteful for a lot of the population.
And it's not for a lot of the population as well. So.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, he did win the popular vote, like the number of people, just the electoral college, which is like.
And I believe his approval rating is an all-time high, but now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because I think people are starting to see the difference between what people say about a person and what they actually do. And he talks a lot of shit, and that's what people focus on. But what he does is a lot better than that. So a lot of people like to knock Trump, and I would probably knock him too, if not for everybody constantly knocking him. But there's a difference between what he says and what he does. And what he does is excellent. He might be one of the best presidents we've had, at least in my living memory, which I'm pretty old. So, but
how old, if you don't mind me asking? I'm in high school.
Oh Jesus, how old am I again? 38, 39? I can't remember. 39, I think.
Oh my gosh, I thought you were like 50 or something.
Gee, thanks. Okay.
Because you said you were old. You said you were old. I thought you were like that old.
No, that's fine.
Old. You got that bum eye, or what is that?
That was a cosplay.
You have an eye patch.
It's not a real bionic eye. That was.
I just thought it was a neat eye patch.
No, I was dressed up as was a Deadshot. Yeah, I was dressed up as Deadshot for something. So that was just cosplay, I guess. It was what was on my Google account. So I was like, forget it. I'm not going to change it.
Okay.
In fact, that's why I'm doing the eye rolls, because my eye patch the eye inside of it started to turn upwards and to the right. So I was like, okay, might as well complete the retarded look.
Somebody thought you were Kano.
Oh, that does look like Kano.
You can't see my head, but my head has like a beanie type thing, and I had guns and stuff and arm cannons and stuff. It was for Deadshot, but all that's cut off, so I can see Kano.
We did get a comment that was interesting. Full Clip said, he's right, it is childish, but that's the show. The game we're all cursed to play for not getting rid of socialism in this country. By the way, he helped change the Electoral College.
That's not bad.
Trump changed the electoral college.
How did he do that? I don't get that.
He changed the electoral college insofar as what used to be X states or Y states kind of flipped. So it used to be pretty predictable who would vote for who, for what side, and then that seemed to change pretty dramatically with him.
I didn't notice that happening. I didn't know.
I still think the electoral college is good. And people making the argument for the popular vote is kind of a stupid argument because we have an electoral college, and if you didn't know we had an electoral college, then you did.
If you don't know, yeah, that's pretty dumb. I don't know how I feel about it. I understand why we want an electoral college, but then also like one person and one vote just sounds very, personal.
Yeah, but sure.
Like if I vote once, I feel like my vote goes directly to that person, not to my state that will like add up.
Okay. Yes, people are demanding blood. Okay.
What?
Well,
you have to say something egregious so I can disagree with you.
Yeah, you guys are really nice. It's kind of adorable.
I like it though.
There was parts where I was actually like wheeze laughing, and then I realized we were on mute, and then Chris was like, "No, we should have had it not on mute so we could hear you wheezing."
No, I mean we were muting it just so that we weren't like talking over you guys or laughing over you guys or anything. But
I'm reading the comments as they're coming in.
That was good though, but we will change topics at least for now. I mean, I can listen to Trump talk all day, but the next one I want to get to is I want to talk about kind of broadly transgenderism. So this can include the bathroom issue. This can include the military controversy.
That's funny.
It can pretty much include anything. You can even talk about if you think it exists or not.
Are you saying trans are funny? Well, I find that offensive.
Oh no.
Yeah.
They're trans comedians.
So I think
no, I find the word transgenderism funny. It's like racism or trans. It just sounds funny.
Oh, okay.
Those isms, they're kind of funny.
No, that's fair. That's fair. So, Elvis, I think Louise started the last one. So if you want to kind of give us your thoughts on some things around transgenderism, transgender people, all that sort of stuff, go for it.
Okay. I generally don't care what people choose to do with their own lives. That's pretty much their decision. Yeah, I guess that's about it.
What do you think about people that are under 18 getting like hormone blockers and their parents encouraging them to live their field gender and all that?
I think it depends, but I think generally that's pretty abhorrent. I also don't like, genital mutilation and stuff. You don't do things to kids that are irreversible.
I don't think any kids get the gender reassignment. They don't get the,
They get hormones, which is pretty bad. The gender hormones will change your personality straight up. And that's when kids haven't even asserted their hormones yet, they shouldn't be getting replacement hormones. That's pretty bad, in my opinion. It's pretty eugenic.
It depends. I wouldn't say it's eugenic. I wouldn't say that. I think that's a different thing. But it depends on the person and the family. And so, I think whatever, it's really depends on the family and the people and stuff. Like I wouldn't say a 9-year-old should get hormones, but when they start getting older, I would say, yeah, you might want to put someone on puberty blockers. For example, like there could be like a trans girl and they really feel like a girl, but then puberty starts and they're going to grow face hair and that's going to feel very awkward for them.
Yes, but if they haven't had hormones and they may think that at the time, but that might be because they haven't had testosterone yet and they haven't realized what masculinity is. I mean, people always talk about this being a social construct. Yes, it is kind of a social construct.
It is, some of it.
And the child is not capable of understanding that social construct. So when people come in with politics charged and kind of go, I'm switching my boy to a girl, that can be really offensive. Potentially to the child, not to mention that puberty blockers and stuff when you're a kid, has a detrimental effect on you physically. You will not generate. You will not. Your penis will not grow.
Yes.
Which could actually affect you in gender reassignment surgery. So if you actually wanted gender reassignment surgery, getting hormone blockers early can actually screw that up.
Yeah, I know that. And so that's why I was saying, you know, it depends on the person. You got to look at the pros, you got to look at the cons, like, and weigh them out. It depends on the family, the person, their genetics. Like, you know, some people, some biological boys don't get beards till like they're 20. So,
Yep.
you know, you could hold it off for that long. And so I think it really depends.
Yeah, depends, but I tend towards whatever the natural state is, that should probably be preserved, even if there's disagreement in how you want to use that natural state. I mean, even if like parents want to be like, don't pierce your ears or whatever, it's like, okay, don't pierce a 2-year-old's ears. If that's the parent's decision, be like, okay, a little leeway for preservation. But in terms of doing things, especially during the point where you're developing. So specifically during puberty, if you're going through puberty, that should not be fucked with hormone blockers. I feel that same way with basically hermaphrodites or whatever. If you're born with both, I think the way that it's handled now is like the doctors choose based on, oh, this one looks the most developed. Your penis looks more developed than your vagina, so
Yeah.
they get rid of it.
Yeah, don't
I
mess
think
with
that's abhorrent because
babies like body parts and stuff.
we don't know how mentally a child is going to be, or in terms of brain chemistry. They could entirely be a woman, and they just have a physical thing that is more developed. That doesn't mean anything necessarily. To make that decision would be like pretty bad, especially if it's the wrong one. You don't want to make the wrong decision. That's really
Yeah.
my point.
I would
We're agreeing.
disagree on the point that that kids do know their gender at like they do know about gender and they know what's female-ish and what's male, what's masculine, what's feminine pretty young. And I think and yeah, they like pretty young, like preschool age, I think. At preschool age, they have a lot of it in mind. And I think
disagree. I think they know somewhat, but most of that is socialized, and they also don't know a lot. I don't know. I don't know about you, but going through puberty was not exactly what you expect to happen. So I imagine that's the same for everybody. Once you go through puberty, that's when you start becoming interested in and stuff where you can, and you don't see that stuff coming. Whatever you have in your mind ahead of time is preconceived notion, and people often don't know what they're getting into. But
it's not a choice puberty or not, so I don't know. I guess there is a lot of changes and stuff.
Sure.
I'm thinking. But yeah, it really depends, I think, on the kid and the family, what they want to do with their hormones, like with their kids' hormones.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that, because like, what if the parent wants to beat their child? It depends on their decision. It's like, no.
Some people believe in stricter or harsher disciplines with some kids, you know?
Sure, but there's a line.
Yeah,
And that line is child abuse usually, and doing things well beyond just because of an ideological reason, which is, I think, a lot of people's concerns, especially on the right, is that this sense of ideological reasoning, anti-masculine perception that
I don't think
is
it's
screwing things up.
anti-masculine at all, because I see trans boys as well, so.
Sure.
And I think anti-masculine thing is kind of funny. Like, I don't know. I haven't thought about it that much. I would say that, I mean, would you agree that a kid should at least live as the other gender, even if they don't do any hormones till they're past 18?
Depends. Generally okay. Probably, I mean, in general, for most child rearing stuff, it's some you give some weight to what the kid wants, and that's really hard to determine because parents have influence and outside sources have influence. And then you have some with parents, and then some to professionals, people observing from the outside. It's just getting multiple determinant stuff. I would say don't put too much pressure on it. Usually when people put out stuff, my boy is a girl on Twitter or Facebook, that's a little bit of pressure, in my opinion. And you feel like you're locked into an ideological position. It's like, okay, but children are confused, right? They do get confused and they don't know. And you don't want to, I think worse than a situation of a boy who is a girl internally, they think they are a girl and they want to become one. Worse than that is a boy who thinks they're a girl, then actually they're not. Because then you're a boy and then now you're locked in. And now you feel like you have social.
You only really get locked in once you get the puberty blockers.
Yeah, so puberty blockers and the social. So I think people who really socialize these things is a problem. And not because I don't think they should be able to talk about it. It's because it's putting undue pressure on the kid. And that's the point. I don't want undue pressure on the kid.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to force anybody. I wouldn't want to say my boy who wants to be a girl or thinks that they are a girl. I wouldn't want to say you're definitely not and make it a real big social issue. Talk to my teachers, talk to their class and have them all know. By the same token, it shouldn't be for if your boy thinks they're a girl either.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that, and the puberty blocker thing is, complicated even in my mind. I haven't fully got it all figured out and like what I fully believe yet. So I'm pretty much with this stance that it depends on the family, the kid, and all these other variables.
I will say on the subject of transgenderism is pushing it more into LGBTQ type stuff. I do believe that some form of homosexuality is absolutely socialized. And I do believe that some form of homosexuality is absolutely genetic. So I think I think being homosexual can be natural and it can also be unnatural. And sometimes it's a good thing and sometimes it's a bad thing for both. It's a complicated situation. It's much easier than just saying all people who are what they are when they're born. And there are,
That is, I never thought about that.
Because if you're abused, you might have problems, and you're gonna go. Like if you're abused by a man when you're a male, and you're gonna have ideas that because that's the only sexuality you've been exposed to, you're gonna think this is what's normal, and this is how you process ideas of love or whatever, and then you're gonna think you're homosexual when you're not. And then when you actually go through puberty, you start realizing what your urges actually are, and you realize, no, I'm attracted to this or that.
Yeah.
And you get locked into these situations, which is why I don't like.
But I think that goes into a different thing of like child abuse and child molestation.
Sure, but
I don't think of those as sexualities at all. I think of them as simply a person, man or woman, because women do that stuff too, that is just wanting power over someone who is a lot younger than them and using sexual ways to get that.
Yeah, and abuse is abuse, but we don't always see the abuse as the outsider. And when a person says, I'm gay, I mean, we don't know what brought them to that.
Well,
whether it was genetics or whether...
I would assume it's the same as straight. Like, if a guy's like, hey, I'm gay, I'm just going to assume, oh, he has a crush on a boy in school or something. Like,
I would agree with that, but like if you say you're straight, I wouldn't also all of a sudden go, "What? You're coming out of the closet? How dare you?" But that is a social thing that does happen. Once you go gay, you're part of a team, and you are. It's like you're joining a political party, and like you have to adhere.
I wouldn't.
I don't like that.
Anyone. I wouldn't. I haven't really seen that happen, but well, in my LGBT club at school, it's kind of political, but I wouldn't want anyone to be like, okay, I'm gay, and now feel like they have to be on a political side. I think that's bad.
Yep, agreed. This is not the blood sports we were looking for, but
no, that's fine. I like you guys coming together because for anyone watching in the chat, they're usually Elvis is usually quite angry at Lewis, and Lewis is
well, I have a lot of things to be angry at. Well, that's a question. Is it him, her? I don't know what the pronoun.
I'm him. I'm him. Louis.
Okay.
Louis is a guy's name. It's a guy's name.
Okay.
Pretty sure it's a guy's.
Louise is also a girl's name, so it's unclear. But
really, it's Mexican. It's of Mexican.
okay,
thing. Yeah. So that.
okay. I just didn't want to start misgendering or some shit.
Oh, okay.
That's nice of you.
It is. It is very nice.
That wasn't a trap. Yes. Okay. Well, you might be a trap. I don't know, but.
All right. Well, I do have another topic. That was a good, informative talk on.
Oh, we got Kira that one.
So Elvis, you kind of mentioned this. I think we were in the pre-show actually when you mentioned it. Yeah, no, and I said save this for the show. I want to talk about, this is a free speech rumble. I want to talk about free speech. So I kind of want to get both of your guys' thoughts on what free speech actually is, what it is exactly. Are there boundaries? Is there such a thing as hate speech, for example, and all that? So, Louise, why don't you start telling, because you said you love the group and everything and you love free speech, tell us what you define as free speech and what you love about it and all that.
Free speech is the ability to say pretty much whatever you want and not be put in jail for it. That's how I see it.
Do you believe hate speech is a thing?
I mean, yeah, because when you speak, you can do it in love, you can do it in hate as well. So yes, I do think it's a thing.
Oh, okay. Do you think that
it's a thing that should be legislated?
Yeah. Do you think hate speech, there should be hate speech laws?
No, I don't think there should be hate speech.
Okay, so you would disagree with something like M103 and Bill C16, which we have in Canada here, which I'm getting them mixed up, but one is an anti-Islamophobia law. So pretty much it makes it so people are deterred from speaking bad or ill of Islam. And then I believe it's C16 is the one where you can't misgender people. So, for example, if I refer to you as the wrong gender,
morally should know that they shouldn't misgender someone. Like that's a moral thing. And if someone doesn't have that morality or that moral standard, then they should, they're just, it's bad and it's wrong, and they need to learn how to be a nice person, and they'll just, I don't know, they might not get a job if they want to misgender someone.
It's interesting you say this because, and this is going more into what made you guys' talks so funny back in the day, in the day a few months ago. But Louise, we actually originally removed you from the original free speech group because you were reporting people and reporting posts in the group. So I agree with what you say on free speech, but then how do you also rectify you reporting people's posts that weren't necessarily going against our rules, or even reporting it above us and going just to Facebook directly so that people were getting
I wanted to see what the difference was because I saw those buttons. That's one of the reasons I saw those buttons. Like, I wonder what it does. Like, because I was like, I just want to show it to the.
I would recommend a Google search rather than actually reporting people. Just saying, because that's a little bit extreme.
No, but I wanted to see what it was, and it's not like trying to get you in trouble. I don't know why I did that. Actually, I was wrong to do that. I think I was in a bad mood or so. I don't know why I did that. I think maybe it's because I felt they were getting a little too personal, but I'm not sure why I did that.
No, yeah, it's fair. If
but I don't plan to do that again.
If I can ask, just on the topic of reporting and all that stuff, do you want to kind of discuss the rumors, because people are saying that you reported a lot of stuff? Do you want to kind of just talk about what you have actually reported versus what you haven't?
I don't remember even exactly what I reported.
I remember what you said. I remember some of it, yes.
Well,
feel free to enlighten it.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I really don't remember. See, it was just I know it's bad, and so that's why I think I blanked it out. But you know what? It throws some things at me. Maybe it'll probably spark.
Well, I would probably say some of it was, I don't want to say innocent, ignorant, maybe. You reported people for things that you didn't like, and not necessarily that they threatened you or actually broke any rules. So when you found a conversation uncomfortable, rather than end it or move on, you reported them. And some people got some temporary bans. Some of it's unclear whether that was a direct result of you or not, but your position at the time was very supportive of your having reported it. It wasn't so much like you're saying now, which was, I was just trying to figure out what the report button did.
Well, that was part of the issue, but I really don't remember that much of it. But I don't plan to report anymore because there's no point in it, really.
Well, if someone's threatening you or
I
going
kind of
after
wanted
you or
to see, like,
doxing you,
I
then
wanted to see
reporting
if
is appropriate.
Facebook saw that as a threat, kind of. Like, I wonder if that is under their guidelines, kind of. Like, I just
Well,
want to
that's the
see.
problem. Is Facebook is being a little aggressive with their free speech stuff, and they're banning people for a lot of things, even when the group is well understood that they can talk about things. Facebook would ban people if they disagree.
And that's why you have
very
Gab,
often.
and that's why you have Gab now, right?
Yes, and this is why people are moving away from Facebook, because Facebook is getting very restricted. It's not. It doesn't even matter the content. If you disagree and you clash on Facebook, Facebook will look for a reason to get rid of one or others, regardless of the position.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not great.
I kind of wanted to see if Facebook recognized like that. I was like, that's pretty bad. I wonder if Facebook will recognize, and I guess they did because they're gone or something. I don't really know.
Well, can I ask how old are you?
I'm in high school. I don't say my exact age.
Oh, so you're under 18.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. I'm not looking to dox you or give me any. I'm just trying to see if you are an adult or not. Because if you are an adult, I would find a lot of the things you have done to be pretty irresponsible, because they're really damaging. They go well beyond the crime that you perceive.
What?
Because
Explain more.
people who get banned on Facebook is pretty serious. This is social media. People can lose their jobs over
Yeah,
things like
people.
this.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
so
social media.
it's a dirty way of fighting, to attack not your words, but your ability to say words, or give consequences to your words that go beyond the form you're in, which I
Mm-hmm.
find to be somewhat abhorrent. Which is where my
Yeah.
disagreement with you has come in.
Yeah, with that, but I agree that there shouldn't be really any censorship of words. People's morals should steer them in the right direction to basically, tell them what's wrong in society should also keep them in check.
Well, the thing I would emphasize with freedom of speech, which I would with most freedom, because I guess I didn't really say what I believed, I suppose, is you have freedom of speech, but you don't have freedom of consequence. But it's
Yes,
not what
exactly.
people think. It's not consequence to go after someone's job. It's actually quite the opposite. You have the freedom to have thoughts in your head, and you shouldn't have your job removed because of it, unless you're involving your job. See, if I have a job, and in my own private time I say something to somebody, that person should not be able to go around and defame me and try to pressure my job, because that is the opposite of freedom of speech. That's someone trying to impinge my freedom of speech by
Well, they're
going
not the law, and so I disagree because they're not the law. They're just they're, if anything, slandering you. But if you've honestly said it, then it's out there. I mean,
Yes, but
slander is like when you say.
when I say something, I say it and it's out there, and I should be able to stand by it. And we live in a society where people are free and have liberty, and thus they shouldn't be targeted. This is along the lines of doxing. This is why we find doxing abhorrent, because you
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be able to go to your employer and go, "Hey, I work at a local grocery store. I stock shelves or whatever. My thoughts on Trump should have no bearing on that.
Yeah,
I'm not
they
saying
should.
it at work. I'm not doing it at work. If I did, then that would involve my job. But otherwise, my job is my job. That should
Exactly.
just stay the fuck
But
out of it.
like a boss would like see you as like if you said something like if they said something like a Nazi thing or a racist thing, they would see that person as like representing their company, and they'd be like, we don't want anything to do with the racist person.
Yeah.
And so then they would.
To which I agree with, and this actually dovetails into, say, Roseanne and the kneeling people at the NFL. I think the people who are kneeling at the NFL have reason to be fired. They're doing it on their job. That is not a place you protest. That is your job. You're not free from the consequences of what you say.
Yeah, they
Now,
are.
if you say, no, they're not. This is their job. If I go into the grocery store and as I'm stocking shelves and I see you have a Hillary for President shirt, I shouldn't be able to go, fuck you, Trump's God Emperor. That's some bullshit. That's your job. You want to say it when you see him on the street and you're not at your job, well then that's your choice. But the employer doesn't have to put up with your bullshit. It doesn't have to put up with
They
your
definitely don't. And but if like those people got in a fight outside of their work and it was recorded and it was violent and gory and bloody and looked really bad, the employer might be like, I don't want those people in my store. They put a bad rep on it.
But that would be a crime. If you committed a crime, then that would be a separate issue. But if it's just speech and you've done nothing wrong, then it has nothing to do with your job, then fuck that shit. Yeah, why does that have to have any bearing on your job? So
because it's association. You don't want to be associated with people who have
and that's the freedom of speech aspect. That's the aspect of consequences that matter. You can shame people. There's nothing against a lot of shame people. I don't like your idea. You're an idiot for that idea. You're uncomfortable with that? Too bad. That's how I feel, and that's how other people feel. But bringing it into your job is a separate thing. It's not a matter of. In fact, I would say that you are free to protest on your job.
You're free to get fired with that, and that I see as okay.
Because you are breaking the contract with your employer.
Yes,
and most certainly with something like the NFL, there would be morality clauses and things like this. It's like, you represent us when you're on the field. You're literally in uniform. So if they fired them, good for them. That's their choice.
I agree with that. I won't say good for them, but yeah, that is their choice, and they can do that as employers.
And I don't care what it is.
Say that it's protesting, and I support their protesting, even if it is at work.
Yeah. Okay. That would depend, I suppose. I guess if you believe in what they believe in, that's fine.
If you want to protest at work, you got to be prepared to be fired.
Exactly, and you very well could be. I think most people should get a warning unless it's clearly, obviously in conflict with the job. Like, generally speaking, keep politics out of, I don't know, say a coffee shop. You're there to peddle coffee. You don't have to get into stuff like that. So there's no need to rile people up unnecessarily.
So you touched on it briefly, but Louise, you said you supported the football players' right to protest, and I heard mention of Roseanne briefly. What are your thoughts on the Roseanne cancellation and then being brought back now with everyone but her?
I think that's cool, I guess. I don't know. I think this show should go on because it's unfair to punish the other people because of something that she did. Well, it's not really punishing because it's really just business, actually. But it's unfair.
Do you think the right thing to do was to remove her from the show, or do you disagree with that, or do you agree with that?
It's whatever the company feels is best, fits their values and what they want to be in their company. And
I would disagree with that wholeheartedly, because she said it on her own time, on her own personal Twitter, not as a representative of the show. She may be the showrunner, but that doesn't mean that represents the views of the company at large, and nor should
You're right. And they said it didn't represent their views at all.
I would give you this example. If Roseanne said, yay LGBTQ, Pride Month is the best, and then Disney fired them for that, would you be happy with that?
No, I would be like, that shows Disney's true self. It shows that they're anti-LGBT, and there'd be protests and everything because, like, you know.
To me, this is where I often disagree with you on things, as matters of principle. You don't seem to have them. So you think one thought, but you speak from an emotional sense, from your personal belief, rather than what should be applied to all people equally. I think what you say on your own, I don't care if it's lefty or righty or authoritarian or libertarian, I don't care what it is. You either have the freedom to say the thing or you don't. You should.
Yeah, and I'm saying that they have the freedom to say that.
Okay.
But not the, but they, you know, like she said that she shouldn't go to jail, but she's a star, and with that, when you're a star, people have cameras on you all the time, and that's kind of like a risk when you become like a celebrity. People are going to be watching you. They're going to be like, I wonder what shoes you're wearing. I wonder what clothes
Yeah.
you're wearing. They have like cameras pointed at you all the time, so you better look nice for the cameras, basically.
Yes. But I think if you're a spokesperson of something and you talk, that gets a little sketchy about how culpable you are. But in terms of Roseanne's case, she's a comedian, and everybody's always known she's a little bit crazy. So the idea that she would say something like this, which, by the by, I do not even find overtly racist. She made a joke about a monkey.
Well,
I don't know
I
if you
mean,
saw a picture of that
that's
lady. She
kinda,
looked like the monkey. She
yeah.
did.
Well, yeah, it's debatable because that's like an old stereo. That's an old thing that's well known
Sure.
to everyone in America, calling an African American a monkey, an ape.
Yeah.
That is that's why people
Stereotype for racism. I get it, but I also don't think racism should necessarily be illegal in that sense. I mean,
no. It just the practices can't be. But
why
racism
would
is.
there not be freedom of speech?
I don't know. It depends because racism has a big impact on people's, I think, mental health. So I don't have statistics to back that up at the moment, but I believe it does.
Well, that's a matter of how you perceive a thing versus what you put out there. There's a difference.
So if
People
there's
have the
like
freedom
certain
to express.
levels, like maybe there could be certain levels of like this is harmful racism because these statistics. I don't know. It has to be science, which I don't have the statistics right now for that.
Well, I don't have statistics right now either, but I think your right to not be offended is not a thing, and someone's right to offend is a thing.
Yeah,
You can have the right to express yourself, but you can't have another body saying you are not allowed to express yourself because it offends this person over here.
Yeah, I agree. That's wrong to have that.
Which I believe in principle, but so I don't like racism. So someone being racist, I wouldn't necessarily like, but that's why you don't hide it. You point it out and say it's stupid. That's the ramifications. That's freedom entails you can do things, but it does not guarantee safety, whether it's safety from hurt feelings, words, or anything else. It doesn't guarantee your safety. I am free to drink. I can drink alcohol all I want, but I will become crazy or I'll lose my mind a bit. I will drink drive, then I will be arrested.
Yes, and then you might lose your job.
Freedom
and then you might lose your job. So that kind of brings your outside behavior into your.
Depends on what you're doing. If you're a delivery truck driver, sure, but if you're Roseanne Barr and you have a DUI, I don't see how that would make you lose your job.
Yeah, it would. That would just be a crazy thing if someone tried to do that as a connection thing. But yeah,
that's cool. Okay. All right. Well, you kind of brought up racism there a bit. I'm kind of curious. I can't recall Louise ever talking about this, but I think it's something Louise would have an opinion on. Let's talk about white privilege. That's fun.
Oh, are you kidding me? He talks about white privilege all the time.
Oh, I just don't pay attention.
Wait, I do?
Yeah.
Look, they don't even know.
When we talk about like Africa and shit, like when we talk about white farmlands,
like Toto Africa, I saw that mentioned in the chat.
Anyways,
all right,
I'm staying out of it.
Anyway, yeah, I have to stay out of this. But on that
I don't remember mentioning it though. I really don't, because I don't think that has to do with white privilege at all. I don't think that anything in Africa. I mean, I don't think it would. I don't know.
Well, what are your thoughts on white privilege? Do you think it exists?
I don't know. I really just, if someone mentions it, I'll listen to them and I'll try to understand what they're saying by it.
So do you think that white people in society have any benefits over the colored folk?
I don't know. I have to think.
Pretty much anyone else of any other color. To the people of light.
I have to think. I mean, I guess in the past and ancestors, like maybe a great grandfather or something, like a grandparent maybe, because like I don't know. It's kind of complicated. I can't.
It is complicated. Yeah. I would
But
say
I would
that
just, if
definitely.
someone said white privilege, I would just listen to what they had to say and not get hung up on the word, really.
Okay.
Okay.
I would listen to what they were saying. And then I would say, well, I might not agree with that privilege or something.
Elvis, what do you think? Do you think you have privilege? You're white, right?
I think people can have privilege, and they do, but that would be heavily dependent, and it's not something that should be so widely said as all white people having all white privilege over all black people per se. I mean, I've never been the president of the United States, so that's a thing. It's some kind of privilege. I never had post-secondary university stuff. That's because I couldn't afford it when I was a kid. Um, um, Things like that offend me. Generalizations tend to offend me, but that
Yeah,
tends to
they
be
do.
because I'm a liberal and I believe in the ultimate minority, the minority of the individual. And I don't like it when people group shit up because we as a group want this. It's like, no, you as an individual deserve this or have the ability to get this, and that's all that matters. You want to start divvying stuff up into the group, that's fine, but the individual comes first. And just to say that a person who is white has a privilege and therefore does not get accepted into college or something like that.
Yeah, the
Even though there's
generalization of that is bad, and I disagree with those generalizations.
sure.
I feel like talking about guns.
Okay.
Let's talk about guns. And Louise, I think we're all fucking Canadians except for you. So this actually really pertains to you.
Yes, it does, because I hear you don't have any guns.
Oh, we have
That's
guns.
not true. We have lots of guns, actually.
We just don't have a Second Amendment like you do. So I'm kind of curious, what are your thoughts on the Second Amendment and maybe how it relates to the school shootings that America goes through and all that that's blown
Why
up by
doesn't
the media?
Canada go through that stuff, or do they do, and I just don't hear about it?
Go through what?
Go through the school shootings. Why doesn't that happen in Canada? You're just
Probably for a few reasons. One, it's not as big a deal as people pointed out to be. There are crazy people all the time and they're doing crazy things, but the press seems to, every time there's a school shooting where 2 or 3 people get killed, that is all over the news. Whereas people in Chicago, the gunshot deaths per day dwarf what you see throughout the year for school shootings.
Well, it's different, I think, because they're just like individuals killing each other, but then a school shooting or a mass shooting is one person killing a whole bunch of people at a very certain time, like an hour or 2 hours. So it's kind of hard to compare those things.
There are reasons, though. It's usually mental instability of the person and they want fame. And given the fact that they give so much attention to these things,
I would disagree with the fame thing. I don't think that they really want fame. I mean, maybe that's part of
it seems pretty obvious. Most of the school shooters recently have said they wanted to be famous. They wanted people to know. Elliot Rodgers said that. A lot of people.
I think you're right. It probably does. It's probably kind of like a cry for help. I don't know. But
sure, it depends how you take it. But I think the bigger issue.
I like the Second Amendment, and I want to keep it. I think it's good.
You do,
but I don't know about guns and stuff like that.
I guess that's my main question for you, Louis. Louis, sorry, I'm bad at this.
It's okay. I don't know how to say your name.
Charisma. There you go.
Charisma. Okay.
Yeah, I know my name's hard. Yeah, I guess I'm interested to hear what you think about David Hogg and this whole movement of like younger people, which I guess you're younger yourself, like getting politically involved.
Yeah, I think it's really good for young people to get politically involved. I think it's awesome, and so it should keep on getting. Yeah, it's awesome to have more people.
Do you agree? Involved. Do you agree with what David Hogg has been doing? Do you know much about that?
I don't know exactly in what particular he has been doing. I know he's against guns.
He's been
But
acting.
if I was in his position, I might be it as well. I'm in a school and some crazy gun people show up and they shoot like all my a lot of my classmates. I think I might be against guns, so I can understand where he's coming from.
I can understand the way he's advocating for gun control. I think my concern with him is the lengths he's going to, and that's including targeting certain newscasters just because they disagree with him. So I'm curious if you think that he's overstepping his reach, if he's using his publicity.
That's doxing, right? That if you go to like that'd be doxing, right?
It's not that he's doxing. It's that he's, I guess, in a sense. I mean, the advertisers are public. What he's essentially doing is going to the advertisers for her show and saying, hey, look at her opinion. She's hating on me, so you guys shouldn't fund her. Just because it's a different opinion. Like, do you agree with that? Do you agree with cutting the source just because you disagree with somebody?
Wasn't that someone on Fox News?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But no, that was kind of something else, because it wasn't that she just had a different opinion of the gun thing. She actually said something that to mean to him, quote, basically mean. And he's a high schooler, so that's like really, that's low. I mean, low. That's low. If you're a middle-aged woman insulting a high schooler, it's just kind of giving him more power.
Yeah. Okay. I can't stand David Hogg, but I think if you're gonna talk in a public forum like this, then you have to be treated like an adult. And if you're not, then his parents should not let him talk. He doesn't have the right to go out and speak necessarily. He wants to, that's fine, but that doesn't free him from critique. And I think
it doesn't. You're right. Critique is never freed, but I can criticize how a person critiques. And she didn't critique him. She like laughed that he got rejected to some of the colleges he wanted to join or something. Like that's what she did or something. And that's like not even with the gun thing. Like that's like something totally off. Like why would she attack the colleges that he was doing?
I'm not here to debate you. That's between you and Elvis, but I will just bring up one point and you can let me know what you think. Earlier, you were discussing about representing companies when you're working, right? So anything that you say on the street, anything like that, it sounded like you were in favor of the business deciding whether or not they wanted that person representing them, right?
You can decide who you associate with.
Exactly. And so do you think the school has the same right to reject his application because of the way he's acting in the media, because that school would be represented by him as well?
I hope that they wouldn't take that into consideration, but I totally see it as a possibility, and there's no law against that, is there? So I think, yeah. I mean, schools are gonna consider everything in a person. They could do a Google search on his name.
Well, it depends. If these schools are publicly funded and they're paid by the taxpayers.
They were publicly. I'm pretty sure they were like.
Then they don't have really the right to the same kinds of things that a private organization.
Yeah,
can choose.
Exactly.
Morality, but
I'm not sure if they're with our tax dollars. I don't know really. I have to think about that more.
I guess my point is that just like a job or business can decide whether or not they want someone to represent them, I feel like a school to a certain degree does. And I think that
if it's not public.
That's fair. Private. That's fair. I just think that he would bring a lot of heat to whatever school he ended up at. So I can understand why some schools might be turned off by that.
Yeah, you're right. They would be like, okay, we don't want to associate with something like that. And so I could understand that.
So do you think it's wrong for her to comment on that then? Because you were saying like, oh, she was making fun of him for not getting into that school, and that's why.
I'm not sure exactly what the tweet exactly she said. So I don't know exactly, but I mean, I guess she can, it wasn't even on the topic, and I don't know what the tweet exactly said. Like, I don't know it word for word. I just know it was about him and schools that he got into.
That's fair. I was just curious.
Yeah, so I'll have to research that. I could do that right now.
I'm gonna quickly change subjects to a very important subject here.
Okay, cool.
Okay, y'all ready?
Okay. It's gonna be
Louise,
Mm-hmm.
Are traps gay?
That definitely seems like that's a definitely important question for you.
It is.
It is. I really don't know, but I'm guessing you're lumping me together because you.
No, I did. All I said was, are traps gay? That's it. I was gonna ask Elvis the same question.
I have no idea. Sure, no, I don't know. Yes, I really don't know.
It's a
I don't
confusing
know.
situation.
I don't have any personal experience with it. Unlike you. I'm just joking.
Hey, my answer is it's not gay as long as your dick's bigger than hers. You're pretty fucking gay if you're taking a dick bigger than hers. But anyway, Elvis,
Are
traps
traps
gay?
I would say for myself, I don't care. But if you want to be really technical about it and be specific, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it depends. If you know they're a trap, then yeah, you're being pretty gay. If you know it's a trap and you're doing it and you still proceed with it, then that was your choice to do something with that biology, and thus that might be considered kind of gay. If you don't know how you wouldn't know, I don't know how you wouldn't know, then perhaps not. I mean,
I just imagine you like there's a 8 out of 10 trap, and you're like, okay, so if I can convince myself that I don't know this is a trap, then I
That
won't.
would
Don't
so
delude
happen to
yourself.
like so many homophobic guys. I can just imagine that happening.
it's just be like, we'll just keep things about the waist.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to pretend. Then I don't know. I don't particularly care what people do, but
Yeah,
I mean, the
neither.
implication of a trap is that it's hidden and then is revealed that they are a trap, and then I guess the implication is what do you do at that point?
But
Well, I don't know.
I would say that I don't think that a trans woman who like goes out with a cis guy or just a guy, I don't think that's gay. I don't think that's gay.
Down with the cis.
I think if a
What
guy,
was that? That was freaky. What I just heard.
When you say cis, do you mean like the separatists? Like, are you more of a Republican?
No, I mean that thing that people call people when they're born with
Oh,
body, whatever.
so we're not talking about like super battle droids
No, but that'd be cool.
or droid to cars. You know, part of the, I'm part of General Grievous's army.
No, but that would be really cool. That'd be pretty.
Yeah. All right. On that note, though, not on General Grievous, but I'm curious what you guys think about dating preferences. Charisma actually brought this up and thought this would be good. So, yeah, is it sexist to have dating preferences? Like, for example, if I only wanted to bang black guys, I didn't like whitey, then would that be bigoted? Or, if a girl only dated white men and wouldn't touch blacks or Jews, is that bad? So yeah, Louise, what do you think?
I think it's bad if they mention it like that, but if one guy just goes around and dates and it just so happens to be like a certain type, I don't see a problem with that.
You mean like a coincidence?
It would seem like a coincidence, but you could tell it's not a coincidence. You'd be like, there's a pattern here, it's no coincidence.
Okay, so you think it's bad if they are consciously making a decision?
No, not just consciously. If they're like saying out loud, I am not going to date to the person. I'm not going to date you because of that.
And why is that bad? Are they racist for doing that?
Well, I'm not sure. Like, if they say it's for a racist reason.
Like, I only date white people because I believe in the superiority of the white race or something? Or
something like that.
Like that
would be racist.
Okay, so when black people do it to other black people, that would be racist.
So if a white girl was like, I only date white men now, because every time I would date a black man, I'd wake up and my VCR would be gone. That wouldn't be okay.
No, like I don't know actually.
When they go on a date, they talk during the movie. It's terrible.
Yeah, I know, right?
And you're always having to restock the grape juice.
Okay, so it sounds like you got some interesting opinions. So if they say it out loud and it's a valid racist reason, then it's bad. But if they just kind of keep to themselves and they're just like in their own head, like I'm only gonna date the Asian men, then it's okay.
Well, I wouldn't say it's even racist exactly. I would just say that people have their preferences, and it's kind of rude to shout their preferences everywhere.
Are they shouting their preference everywhere, or are they just saying it to potential people they have a preference for? I'm sorry, I'm not into black people, so I don't want to date you.
Well, I mean, would they? I mean, why would you say that? I'm not into.
Well, if a black person,
why would I say I'm not into you as a black person? Why wouldn't I just say I'm not into you? And then I would just say that to I would just say that to anyone who I wasn't into, and if that just so happened to be black people, then that would just be that.
Sure, that's one way, but it would also be honest. If that is the reason why you're not going out with them, they're like, I don't know, an Asian person is hitting on you and be like, I'm not into you. You can say that, but if you said, I don't date Asian people, I would find that bad etiquette, perhaps. But
yeah, exactly, bad etiquette.
It's still, I don't see anything particularly wrong with that. It's not. My concern is, what do you mean by bad? To me, everything falls down into: are you going to legislate it away? Is this something you're going to?
Yeah, there can't. If you fall it into that category, no, you can't legislate it away. But people should know, like what's nice and what's not nice, what's rude and what's not rude.
So, Louise, I won't date Japanese women, and what I tell them, I think I let them off in a nice way. What I say is, 2 nukes was enough.
Fucking weebs. Was it though? Was it? Okay.
Yeah. No, that's a debate. Louise, do you think 2 nukes was enough?
You mean
it actually was enough, technically, but it worked.
But I'm just joking. Don't worry. That's not an actual topic. That's not.
Yeah, no, this isn't an actual.
No, I was just trying to lighten the mood.
I'll discuss it because I think those bloody nukes were a good thing. There were a lot more people dying every fucking day than what those nukes killed, and there would have been more, hundreds of thousands of people.
Louise, do you agree with 2 nukes?
What? In what do you mean?
Hiroshima.
Oh, those.
World War II.
Yeah.
We dropped 2 nukes.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, you did. You're Canadian. I thought that was us.
Oh, we were allies.
Okay,
yeah.
so
we
cheered. You guys can take credit for the American works.
Hey, well, we were doing Pearl Harbor and everything, and okay. I'm sure we weren't very fond of Japan either.
Yeah. I don't know. I would say that would be like, I don't think it depends on the woman if she would like that joke or not. I mean, it's a kind of a clever way to like.
No, I meant literally. Do you think like it was the right decision for America?
I'm not talking about dating anymore.
Oh yeah, we switched all that. Okay, I'm thinking. It probably, I would hope not, but it might have been what was necessary.
Okay, that's a very political answer. I think you have a future in politics, so that terrifies me.
Yeah. I can understand why that would terrify.
Please don't be elected to anything. Don't
worry. I don't want to be. I want to have a nice life as a lawyer. I think I want to be a lawyer.
Lawyer? Are you Jewish?
Lawyer? Wait. You want to be a lawyer? You're so wishy-washy on laws and regulations. I would not really want you to be a lawyer. I think more so than a politician. They're basically in the same vein, aren't they? They're about making policy and enforcement.
Well, one is like making enforcement for like people. One is just win a debate.
Robot? Oh, how? No, I don't.
A lawyer is just one person. I think.
Yes, and a politician makes laws.
Yeah, for everyone, and so it has to be okay with everyone. It's like.
How's that? I can't think of 2 things more related than a lawyer and a politician. They're pretty much the same thing. I mean, you want to talk about constitutional law? Who's qualified to talk about constitutional law?
Both would be
lawyers and politicians.
Why those laws are different, because politicians, they try to do it for like everyone, and then I think lawyers are just like, it's one person, or kind of not one person, but it's like things versus each other.
Yeah, that's
And that's the thing that I like about it is because you think I'm wishy-washy, so I can like adjust my views to a certain case.
okay. Yeah, I don't.
Oh my gosh, are you okay?
Yeah, keep going. It's great.
Please don't expect my patronage when you become a lawyer,
It's
because
okay.
yeah, I don't know. I think you're a little too. You can't be wishy-washy with the law. You have to be pretty fucking exacting. You can be wishy-washy as a politician. That's what a
Yeah, but
lot of
I
people's
don't
problem with
want. That's
politicians.
the thing is that I think I wouldn't be able to help everyone because, like, if I'm a politician, I got to help everyone.
Yeah, okay, I don't.
Or I feel that's what politicians should do. Anyway, so
Okay. Well,
what's the next subject? Do you have like 30 of those things you said?
I got. Oh, I can go all night.
Oh, okay.
Or so the traps that I sleep with say. I mean, oh, geez. Oh,
Don't out charisma. All right.
Yeah,
All right,
don't out Christmas.
Moving on. We'll cut that out. We'll cut that
I'm
out.
in the closet.
So I do
When you
have.
say cut that out. No, sorry. Okay.
I'm gonna bring up one of my favorite topics that people who have listened to the stream before know that I get passionate about, but I'm gonna stay out of it and let these two kind of dabble in one of my favorite topics, and that is Louise. You consider yourself to be quote unquote ally of the LGBTQ plus community, right?
Yeah, LGBTQ, maybe not plus, but
No
LGBT.
plus, no two spirit.
I don't know what that is. Actually.
You won't like Canada.
No.
Two Spirit's more of a Canadian thing. It's
Yeah.
essentially like.
Oh, that's because you have all those natives there.
We have all of these natives.
Yeah, so they have. Yeah. Anyways.
So anyway, since you consider yourself that, I'm kind of curious what your take is on Islam and Islam's beliefs towards the LGBT, whatever you want to call it, community. We can look at the shooting in Florida that happened. We can look at how gays are persecuted in Sharia countries. Just kind of what do you think of Islam over there?
I think it's pretty bad for LGBT people. It's bad. It's not good. And a lot of religions are not very friendly to LGBT people.
Yep.
So yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, they've done a lot worse than I think other religions, from what I've seen on the news.
You realize that's not the popular opinion amongst people that ally themselves with that LGBT community, if you want to call it that.
Well, I think because like they're LGBT people know what it's like to be the minority and discriminated against and treated like less, and so they can like feel empathy for Islam or Muslim people.
Why? Because Islam is a minority?
Not because it's a minority, but because they're like treated badly, or some people would see that they're treated badly.
I would disagree with that. Islam is pretty much a majority wherever it is, and if
it's like one of the most practiced religions.
I mean, Islam's somewhat positive towards the LGBTQ community.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Because they think that LGBTQ people can fly. That's why they keep throwing them off. I think that's pretty well. Again, not on the hashtag. Not all.
That's an excuse that they would use. They'd be.
I don't think they even use that excuse. That was a joke.
I know.
Okay. Yeah.
No, I think it's. I think it's bad. A lot of religions are bad. We just need to make sure that in America, none of those, religious ideas get into law, because then it'll be bad. Till then, everyone can like.
Okay, so when you have Islam,
have their religion, whatever they want, they just can't put any of the religions into laws because.
Okay. So you have like something like the UK where Islam is having a pretty they seem to be appearing in there. Their population is increasing at an exponential rate, and you see studies where they say they're like 80% want Sharia law. What are your thoughts on Islam then?
I don't know how this is the UK, right?
Yes.
It'd be different. It's different than the US, so I'm not sure how our laws that makes sense.
Globally,
do they have a whole thing where it's where it's religion?
Well, globally, Islam globally is about 80% people support Sharia law. Doesn't matter where you're from. If you're from Thailand, whether you're in Japan and you're Islamic, which they don't have a lot there, but they tend to support Sharia law, and they push that.
I
I
wouldn't.
don't think
I
there's
would.
any.
We just need to make sure that religion and law are separate for the United States. I don't know what'll happen over the cross seas.
I agree, but when they don't want to do that and they do want to push their own law, like Sharia law, which would make homosexuality illegal,
Yeah, I know. And
then what would you do?
Christian. There's probably a lot of Christians and other religious people that believe very similar. They wish they could make laws that outlawed that stuff, and that hasn't happened. So we just have
Sure.
to keep on doing what we're
Which
doing.
is odd for a country that is based in religion so much like the United States that has a lot of Christian background. They haven't made
does.
that law because they know the difference between what they believe and what they put into law.
Exactly, and we need to keep that because then Sharia law will happen, maybe.
Yes, and that would be bad, yes?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would be bad. Religion, I believe in science and reason. So, yeah.
Okay.
I gotta say, Lewis, like listening to you talk through all these, like
You don't
you're
sound
either
like
you're either one fucking with us, or two, you've actually kind of picked up a few things from the group there.
I
Because
may have learned stuff from the group, but I kind of already had it a little before I was in the group.
because you're in the vast minority on your side of things to be talking any kind of shit about Islam. I'll just say that.
I'm not talking shit about it. I mean, I
You're
have.
telling the truth.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, of course. I'm not gonna lie and be like, oh yeah, they're totally LGBT friendly, because a lot of religions aren't, and they are one of the religions that are like not very.
Okay.
But I do have people in my school. I think a couple Muslims, and they're not anti-LGBT, or at least they don't show it to me. So we're good. I mean, don't you know a lot of Muslims, or no? Do you know of, like, when you walk around?
I do, and then when they get to know me, they don't really like me. So,
oh,
that could be for other reasons. We don't know. So,
I think it might be just because I start screaming Deus Vult.
I would think they would love you given your anti-Jewish jokes. So
that is true. That's okay. That's actually true. That has happened.
Okay.
All right. So I actually have a fun topic. I'm not sure.
Is this into anti-Jewish now? Is this the?
No, we're not talking
It's
to
the
JQ.
show.
We're definitely gonna do a JQ one though.
Oh,
We're definitely gonna do a JQ one of these days.
I'm gonna be silent.
No, I need to find some people. We need to find a Jew and someone that hates them.
And an oven.
And an oven.
Oh my God.
Donate $20. Order a pizza fresh out of the oven.
You don't need $20. You just need like quarters. That's it.
That's 1 shekel.
That's a lure, right? Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we're not actually talking the Jews today.
Okay, we are now.
Oh yeah. But I already hear their the Jew ninjas knocking on the door, telling me to shut it down. So I have a fun topic that I think got a lot of us started into having terrible opinions on things, and that is women representation in video games. It's one of my favorite classic topics.
I play video games.
Perfect. That's great. So, Luis, do you think that maybe strong men are overrepresented in games? Or do you think maybe there's not enough women leads or minority leads? Or, any of that sort of thing? Like, what are your thoughts on, like, the new Assassin's Creed?
What's the new Assassin's Creed?
Oh, it takes place in like Sparta, and so you can choose to be a female Spartan or a male Spartan.
I don't see a problem with that. They let you decide if you're male or female with the last Far Cry game, right?
I'm not sure. I didn't play it.
Oh, you didn't play it.
Far Cry 5?
Yeah, Far Cry 5.
I haven't played that one. I don't know.
So do you feel strongly at all, though, about video
Not
game
really.
representation?
I mean, a video game is your art, so you can decide what you want to put into your artwork.
Have you been trolling us this whole time?
I know, you seem to have had very different opinions before. Is my feeling. You
No,
seem
it's
to
it's
stance on certain things when now it seemed a little bit more.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's kind of good to have a variety of characters in video games. I don't feel strongly, but I
No.
think it's good to have a variety
Well,
of
I feel
different
strongly.
people. And I think, recently we have been getting that, and I think, why not? You should appeal to a lot of people if you want to sell a video game.
Yeah.
You're coming off like a radical centrist now. That's the most dangerous kind of person, is a radical centrist.
Be careful. People on the
I
left will
know.
want to eat you the
I
most.
would describe myself as that, I guess.
Those fences are dangerous and pointy. I have one. I have another topic. You guys are going through these so fast. Elvis, I'll start with you. I haven't started with you in a while. What is your take on the hysteria of the left in the mainstream media about the child separation controversy, about Time magazine putting that little girl in Trump on the cover, and then later it being found out that she doesn't actually, she's not actually a refugee at all. She was just going up there with her mother to look for work, and all that. It's also brought out a lot of more celebrities calling for. I think the worst one was Peter Fonda saying, "I want Barron ripped out of Melania's arms and put in a cage with pedophiles."
Yeah, that was fun.
Oh yeah, that was gross.
Yeah. So, what is your take on the whole child separation hysteria that's swept the nation?
I think it.
I think it's. Oh, you're asking me?
I've started with you, but I actually said Elvis go first.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Y'all can go.
All right. Well, I'd say it is hysteria. I think it's kind of hysterical. And if you want to make a point, maybe, make sure you have your facts straight. I mean, these are media and they're supposed to have fact checkers, and that's why they're verified. That's
Agreed.
why they have any kind of credibility, is that they verify these things. And they literally just have, it was practically a meme, that Time magazine cover. It was just photoshopped bullshit. Literally. It was photoshopped. Like, that didn't happen.
Yeah,
That
it was a
does not
lie. It
represent
was a
the truth.
straight up lie.
It was straight up like even the pictures coming out. It's like this kid crying. It's like that was part of a protest, and that was a staged shit. And people are posting it like and stories like it's a real thing. It's like, okay, that really hurts your cause. Like you want to make the point, fine, make the point, but like use real examples. And this is what keeps happening, is fake examples constantly. It's really going to hurt your point. Like, I would love to hear a legitimate argument, but all of this is complete garbage. As far as I'm concerned, it is propaganda. It's a complete lie. Give us a real example, and then I'll give me something I can address as a fact. Then okay, fine, let's address it. But they can't, because everything is just a made up garbage. And like, okay, then the argument becomes, okay, Obama was doing it. Why wasn't it bad back then? Why is it bad now? Like, okay.
I think it was bad then. I think separating kids is bad.
Well, yes and no. If you're a criminal and you're being criminally indicted or whatever, then obviously a separation has to occur, because then you can't throw a kid in jail. So that's obviously a thing that must happen. Sometimes kids must be separated. Also, the fact that a lot of these kids coming from like, okay, 80% of people crossing the border of women are being raped. What are happening to the children? Encouraging people to cross the border doesn't exactly protect children. A lot of how do you even know it's their parent? Like very frequently, children have to be separated from people that come across the border, because they may not be safe with the person they came across the border. There's no documentation. You don't know if it is their parent even. They're just illegals. You don't know who they are, where they're coming from, and why. People are abusing morality of emotional garbage of you're separating them from your children. And what you could be doing is supporting child trafficking, which is not good either. You can't just restrain policy like that because oh God, won't somebody please think of the children? That's a stupid reason to do anything. It's like, sure, you should protect children, and sometimes protecting children means separating them from their parents or who claim to be their parents.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what he has. So
yeah. I think that it's best to keep families together. Child Protective Services, I believe, they really try to keep families together. So I believe that that's really important to keep families together.
Yeah.
So I would want the kids to be kept together with their parents if they could be.
As far as I'm concerned and everything I've seen, they basically are. And if you're illegal, you're not. They're doing an excellent job, given that these people aren't supposed to be here. They're not going through the proper process of immigration. So you are already illegal. You are already breaking the law. If they separated every child from every parent who came in illegally, I think that would be within their right to do so while they're sorting shit out. Now, whether they throw those kids into a gulag they don't deserve to be in is a separate issue. But by all indication, they seem to be treated well and fairly. And in a great extent, the reason why they're separated is because they don't want to mistreat the children. It's to protect the children. The children get food and everything, and like criminals are treated like criminals.
Yeah, I'll look into that to learn more about it. I haven't been exactly following it because I don't have much thought on it really. Well, I don't have much thought on the immigration thing at the moment.
Okay, well,
Immigration in general. Okay.
Here's a question for you then.
Okay.
Oftentimes, people who support Trump, or people that are traditionalists, or people that are into nationalism, are called Nazis. Do you agree with the label of calling someone a Nazi? In what scenarios do you think someone's a Nazi? Like, what is the requirement to be one?
If you present traits of a Nazi, I think that's...
What are the traits of a Nazi?
Yeah, I mean, it's a label. I'm not sure exactly. Like, racist, I think. Like, well, I mean, if you fit the definition, you're that then.
What's the definition, though?
Definition, yes.
I'll look it up.
I mean, I can look this up, but I'm just curious, like, what you consider the association, because a lot of the time Trump supporters are called Nazis. Do you agree with that?
I think they're just called Nazis because some of them do happen to be like white supremacists or Nazis, so they get all lumped together.
Do you think that Trump supporters are white supremacists?
I think some are, because David Duke is one, and he supported Trump. That's an example. This guy called Andrew, he's Andrew, I forgot how you say his name.
Andrew Anglin? Is that what you're talking about? I'm not trying to throw anybody to the bus.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
Okay.
I think Richard Spencer is one of them. So yeah, there are people who do support him and do have racist views, so they kind of put them together.
Do you think the average Trump supporter is a white supremacist?
No, I don't. I don't think so, no.
So would you say that the label of Nazi is inaccurate when discussing Trump supporters, or the label of white supremacy? Do you think that's inaccurate?
It depends on like who, because there are people who I mentioned who really are white supremacists / Nazis, and they really do support Trump. And then there's people that are not any of those, and they don't.
The thing is, those people are prominent, right? That's why
they're prominent.
Kind of out there.
Yeah.
I mean, to the same, like, there's a lot of people who support Bernie or Hillary that can hold racist views. There's a lot of Democrats
a lot of
that
people
do, right?
who are extreme get a lot of people who are extreme get a lot of attention.
I mean, the reason I'm asking you this is because you do tend to push a lot of propaganda about white supremacy. And I do see you posting a lot of articles associating Trump supporters and white supremacy. So I'm just curious if you're doing that.
There are, like I said, there's evidence that show that there may be a connection.
What do you consider an act of white supremacy? Like, what do you consider?
Saying that your race is the best and no other races matter and other races are bad. Well, yours is good.
Do you think that?
So you think all Black Lives Matter people are racist then?
I'm not sure because I haven't followed them. They don't I don't think they ever said that like white lives don't matter or something like that. They just want to promote that their lives matter.
I mean, this ends up in the same vein of how feminism is portrayed as well, where they say feminism isn't about hating men or being better than men. It's about being equal to men. It's about uplifting women. But in reality, the way that they treat men on the pursuit of this ends up damaging men, right? So it's kind of similar in terms of with Black Lives Matter, where there's a lot of negativity around it, a lot of hatred, in my opinion, from people who support Black Lives Matter, who are part of it, towards white people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where I think Elvis is coming from when asking you, do you consider like Black Lives Matter racist, or do you consider them supremacists?
So it's kind of like what you're saying is like they're kind of lumped together.
What I'm saying is that in the same way that you could discuss white supremacy, there's also Black supremacy. But
yeah, definitely there are. I mean, the Southern Poverty Law Center has a place called Black Separatists. They have their own other things. So yeah, there definitely are groups of people that are white supremacists or white separatists, black supremacists, black separatists.
That's my problem with the whole situation is the synonyms. It is saying, well, this basically means that, which basically means that, which basically means that, which basically means if you support Trump, you're a racist Nazi, which is what left tends to do. They tend to sum up a thing as, well, if you supported Trump, you're a Nazi. Well, you're white supremacist. Well, you're racist. A lot of things mean the same things. It's a redefinition of words. And so you keep going down that line, and that's what you do. Everyone becomes a Nazi. Everyone becomes a racist. It's like, well, some people who support Trump are racist.
Yeah, like you gotta really know who those people are, because I'm sure there really are like
some people that eat pizza are also racist.
Exactly.
So
yeah,
if I'm a fan of pizza, does that mean that I'm a white supremacist?
Do you like cheese pizza?
I don't know. Do I? Yeah, I guess I do.
Do you fly across the country for like $500,000 and talk about how cheese pizza is really
Listen,
good?
I can barely spend $5 on pizza. So.
Oh, fuck. So you're getting those illegal cheese pizzas.
Well, I saw Hitler drink water once in a video, so clearly you're literally Hitler. So
I guess that's kind of my point with it, is I feel like a lot of the time you kind of associate Trump supporters with negative connotation. I barely ever see you speak positively about Trump supporters.
Well, yes, but I would say the same for people like you guys. Like, I rarely see you post anything good about LGBT people because it doesn't like interest. I would say the same about you.
I don't think that is necessarily comparable, because I don't go out of my way to say anything negative about LGBTQ people.
I don't go out of my way either. I just say, like, look at this video of a negative.
Well, you put up videos of like everybody on Fox News. Look how much hypocrites they are. But when
because it's true, they are. There's no because it's true, they are.
Okay, how? What are they hypocritical about?
I showed a video that shows that they're hypocritical. Remember that video?
On what?
I think it was the subject of Korea. I think that was it.
And you don't think the left is hypocritical about Korea? I mean,
I do. I do think they are. And if you want to share a video of that, you can. But yeah, you can. I just share things that like interest me. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Why do you think a lot of white supremacists like
I don't think that a lot of white supremacists like him. I think a lot of white supremacists are actually on the left. I think there are some on either side. I think people like to take this little tip of the iceberg of a population and be like, this is the one that sticks out. And they say, that's what they are. It's like, no, it's not.
Yeah, I definitely can understand.
I will tell you exactly why people associate white supremacy with Trump. Is because Trump has immigration supports stricter borders. That's it. Because he has stricter borders, racists immediately go good. This allows people from outside not to come in. Anybody who has stricter border control is automatically going to be supported by white supremacists. Or does that mean thus that everybody is a white supremacist? Not even in the least. This has been on the left as well. Obama was more strict in border control than Bush was, but I don't think anyone would have made the argument that that Obama was racist, more racist than Bush was. I'd say the exact opposite. And yet, the reason people say Trump and Trump's supporters are racist is because he has border control. That is not a racist
but then I showed some videos which showed other people that
Okay.
Like I showed videos that, I remember a video I showed where this, what was that? But yeah, I mean, I don't know. There might be a connection. I asked why one time on free speech. I asked, why do you think that? And the immigration thing might be correct, because definitely separatists don't want difference. So they wouldn't want anyone from any other place.
Yeah, but there's a difference between wanting border control and being racist.
Yes, there is.
Yeah. Good. I agree with that.
But then
But then what?
I don't know what I was thinking, but I was thinking how he wants a border on this side, but not the Canadian side.
Because Canadian side isn't a problem. And
Are
the
you
south
sure?
side is a problem. Yes,
Are you sure?
I am sure. Yes, I've lived near the border. I've literally been at a park and just literally walked across the border to go to a convenience store, buy something, and come back. As a kid, I didn't need passports or anything because there's not an issue with economy between the two. We bolster each other. But when you have a border with a country that is having major problems, then one will leech from the other. The reason Canada and the US does not need a wall is because it does not need a wall. We're not really hyperly negative to each other. The minute Canada starts stealing all their food or something, then yeah, fuck Canada, put up a wall. The minute US does it, fuck US, Canada put up a wall. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's why you have I see the border as your home.
I don't think that a border will solve the immigration problem. And I think it's really, a wall would just be ugly looking, but we already have a wall there. So I don't know. I don't want any of my taxes going into that or anything. I wouldn't donate or do anything.
You want your taxes be going into paying people who are not citizens who don't pay into your taxes?
I wouldn't want that either. But
a wall would solve a lot of that. Put in a few billion.
I don't believe the wall would, and also the way Trump presented it was very bad.
Well, a wall would. This worked in Israel, and this worked in a lot of other places, which is why walls exist. If they didn't exist, they wouldn't exist in the free market of ideas because walls are stupid. The walls work in your house, otherwise people steal your shit.
Exactly. So, and that's the thing is that I don't like it just feels not too protective. I can't think of an exact word, but
that is the issue because
it
is protective because we need protection.
It just doesn't I mean, we just don't need a big, huge wall. It would just be ugly right there. It just seems so
we should have open borders because of aesthetics. That's why.
I don't know open borders would be a good idea either.
Open borders would be terrible, but that logic about why we should have a wall is not good. It's not logical. It doesn't make any sense. That's all.
Yeah, it's really personal to me. It wouldn't. It's really a personal.
I personally don't want black people coming into my business. It's not because they're black. It's because of aesthetics. The black would really clash with my wallpaper. That's not why you have rules like this. It's not for aesthetics.
Hey, speak for yourself. I mean,
sorry,
Louise. Would you be for the wall if it had pretty floral design on it?
No. It could have a mural. I do like building walls that have murals.
It should just be stars and stripes the whole fucking way. It'd be awesome.
I saw someone propose that if you donate $100, you get a brick with your name into the wall.
Okay.
So the wall would pay for itself. Would you be okay with that?
That would actually be interesting, and I'd be more okay with that. More okay. But I just don't think a wall is going to stop the immigration. I do see it working, but I don't believe
It would literally stop the immigration. It would literally stop the people from walking into the United States. That's literally what it is for is to stop people.
Mhm.
Can you
Well, I'll
scale a
think about
wall?
it. I'll think about it more because immigration hasn't really been one of my main things. I don't like the way Trump presented it at first, especially how he's saying Mexico's going to pay for it. I didn't like that. That felt like demanding and just entitled and dumb, and so I didn't really like that idea either.
Why?
Because it's
It has a
entitled.
point.
It's entitled. It's like you're gonna pay for it. Like you don't say that. Like he could say we're gonna pay for it, even though I'm not happy with that. But it's like he's telling Mexico to do why that's wrong to tell
Why?
someone else to pay for something of yours. Because it's
Why?
just
Why is it wrong?
because it's wrong.
They're the problem. They're the one draining money from the United States, and he has the pressure to go. If you don't pay for it, fuck you, and here are tariffs.
Then I guess he could
Mexico
do that.
does not contribute to the trade between the United States and Mexico. Mexico is a drain. Everything they get funds from the United States. They are a great source of drain on the United States. So if they're going to say, yeah, you're going to pay for the wall, keep your citizens in your. If we were just bleeding Americans into Mexico and it was becoming a problem, and Mexico said, we're going to build a wall, and frankly, you're going to pay for it because it's basically like if it's your house, yeah, and your neighbor has a dog, and your dog keeps coming over and shitting on your lawn, and be like, I'm building a fence, and you're fucking paying for it. And the reason why they say that is otherwise I'm going to the cops or I'm going to retaliate. That's the implication. Is you're doing stupid shit, you're paying for it.
Okay.
Which is why I don't think it was necessarily in
I'm
bad
not gonna
taste.
agree or disagree because I would like to learn more about the subject also as myself and exploring. Because immigrate if you post something on free speech about immigration, I rarely post I rarely post anything.
Sure.
So yeah.
Do you want to, Charisma? You think it's time for the final bout?
All right.
All right. So, guys, been going at it for a while, and I guess we'll close it off. But I have one more kind of weird topic, but we kind of talked about it while the stream was going on because we wanted a nice finisher. So, you guys have a lot of history talking to each other on Facebook and trolling each other and arguing with each other. So I brought both of you guys on because I think more than anyone, you guys interacted the most. So in getting to know each other, I'll propose this one at a time. Is there anything that you want to get off your chest to the other person? Something that you've been thinking about in regards to the other person that you got to tell them, whether it's a lesson they should learn or anything that you just feel like saying now that you actually have them here. So let's see. I'll say, Louise, you go first on this. Is there anything that you just really need to tell Elvis after baiting him so much on Facebook there?
I don't mean to bait him. I honestly don't mean to bait. I just like to create conversations that we can have.
Okay. Well, anything else in particular?
Nothing in particular, except sometimes when you write like a whole, like maybe like two whole paragraphs or not paragraphs, like they're just long comments. I might not read. Well, I do read most of them.
TLDR.
It wouldn't be surprising if you don't read to me, but yes.
It's kind of difficult to respond to them because they're so long. But I do think it's good to debate, and I think it's good to have discussions, and so
sure.
Yeah. I don't mean debate. I don't know. I just mean to post stuff for discussion. I post stuff for discussion and talking.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I'm gonna say.
Cool. Do you have any advice for him?
For me?
No, Louise to Elvis, quickly. Is there any advice you'd want to give him? Because he gives you a lot of advice, right? So, is there anything?
So far, I've gathered 2 long comments.
Yeah. Anything apart from 2 long comments? All right, I'll take that as a no. I don't know if you're muted or what,
Is
but
he not in the stream anymore? I can't see his name.
no, I see him there.
Okay.
Hello.
What?
Hi. Could you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Was that all you had for Elvis? Was there anything else?
That was it, I think, for now. That
Okay.
was it.
Elvis, is there
Mhm.
anything that you would like to say to Louise after all those comments that he's left on Facebook, all those heated moments? Is there any advice, any words you just feel you need to get off your chest here before we end this?
Sure. Try not to be too offensive. Yeah, I have a lot of issues with how you post and how you talk, and it's not necessarily the content of which you speak. I don't
It's
care that you
just-
disagree.
Yeah, it's just my bad grammar, isn't it?
Bad grammar, communication. You don't like my long posts. That's fine. I get that. I don't like yours either because they go on for 40, 60 comment threads, and it's all because people don't understand what you're fundamentally saying.
Well, I
You
mean,
need
I
to
am.
stop and think, and you need to communicate clearly. If you have a point, make it, but you jump around your point back and forth, and this actually causes more confusion, not less. Then stop re-editing shit. Because you will make a comment, then you have a 30 comment thread, and then you will re-edit your first comment to completely ruin the context. I think you stopped doing that, but I would continue to stop doing that.
But I edit it because like the grammar might be bad, so I have to edit it.
Yes, but if it becomes the point of the conversation, and if it becomes a thing, you can't then edit it because then now you've removed the context of everyone else's comments. See, when you edit a comment that other people have responded to, you're essentially editing everyone else's comments. So you can edit your comment after you've made it. If you realize you've screwed something up, re-edit it real quick. But if other people have already responded, it's basically set in stone. And if you start editing then, you're screwing up everyone else's comments at that point.
Fair enough.
That's a general formatting thing for anybody. You post anything, anybody. If I would do that, generally address it after the fact. So if people start commenting on it and say it's bad grammar, then address it there and go, to clarify, this is what I meant, and actually put it in a new post. Don't actually go back and edit the old one, because that just makes things more confusing. Because now nobody knows what anyone is talking about.
Okay.
But yeah, general communication. Think about what your point is, and then communicate it clearly as possible. Literally, I've said that before, and it sounds condescending. I'm sure it will here as well. Literally read back as if you're hearing it from somebody else. Have someone else read it back to you and say, "Does that make sense?"
Yeah. The thing is,
Because
when I
very often
post,
it
I'm
doesn't.
usually not like I am walking or something. So yeah, I can't normally have that. But
Okay.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. I do.
I would focus on one thing at a time. Don't walk and chew bubble gum. Just focus on the one thing so you could do it right. I don't want you walking into traffic either, because if your grammar's that bad, then I don't want to know what your walking is, because you're probably running into things.
Oh no, I'm
That's
not.
probably
That's probably the
a-
reason I pay attention too much to walking, and then the Facebook thing is like. Oh. But I also have dyslexia, so it's also difficult in that.
Sure. I'm sure. That's fine. But I think part of that is because you're never clear on your concept. I think I would see, like, know where your core principle is and stick to it. Not that you can't have your mind change, but if you have an idea and you propose it, you seem to go down this line of, I believe this, and then people are like, well, that's stupid. Then you go, well, it was just a joke. Don't do that.
Okay.
If it's a joke, make it clear it's a joke. I
Okay,
mean,
well, do I have to put that it's a like?
no, most people understand, but if it's a joke, you generally don't take comments seriously. That's the
Okay.
point of a joke. When you make a joke, it's a joke, and then when people respond to it with their own jokes, the natural response is laugh or continue making jokes or something. You will literally take people seriously. It's like, it's funny. You will say a statement that is somewhat trolly, and then you will And then when someone makes a troll comment yourself, you will take it seriously. And you'll go, well, that's mean. I would never do that. It's like, well, if it was a joke, then you should recognize other people are possibly making jokes too.
Okay, fair enough.
To be
I get
inconsistent.
that. I get that.
It's fine. I'm fine with the joke. But the joke often seems to be an excuse to distance yourself from a bad idea. You will have an idea and you will argue it for 60 comments in a thread, and then it's just a joke. That's a dismissal. It's passive aggressive and it's kind of bullshit. Either if you're going to make an argument, make an argument. If you're going to make a joke, make a joke.
Okay,
don't make an argument, then devolve into, oh, it was just a joke. Okay. No, that's you distancing yourself from your argument.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I don't mean to post the most serious stuff. Some of it can be light, some of it's serious, and I'm sorry I don't make it so clear.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't know. You haven't been very as aggressive seeming as you have been in your posts in this stream, so I'm not really sure what to make of that. If you're unwilling to commit or something, that's fine.
No.
Okay.
I think this is what Louise meant when you go on and on in paragraphs. I think you just got that dished out in person.
Okay.
That was great, though.
I have a tendency to rant, yes. I do go on, yes.
Oh, no, that was hilarious. But I was just like, fight back. What are you doing?
You wanted to see bloodshed, didn't you?
Yeah, you're too nice. When it's text, you can be pretty savage, but when you bring on the voice, yeah, it's nicer. But yeah, no, it's okay. I think that's good. I know both of you guys just kind of talk on Facebook, but for either of you, let's say Elvis first, is there anything that you'd want to shill, like a Gab handle or a Facebook or anything like that?
Or any final comments, I suppose.
Yeah, any final comments as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm willing to discuss most things, I guess. I don't really do social media too much. I'm more of an observer than an interactor, but yeah, I guess Elvis Prime for Gab and Twitter. Not that I use them all that much. And Facebook, I guess I go by Elvis. People there probably know who I am. I guess I won't share my last name for now. I don't know. But yeah.
Cool.
That's about it.
Right. Louise, anything you want to shill? Any final comments?
Yeah, I really like the free speech group, and I like how it's good because it's free speech. If I want to post, if I want to say something, I can just say it there. And I like having conversations and debates like this one. I think this was really good to have.
Oh, I'm glad you had fun.
Mm-hmm.
Good. I'm glad. Cool.
The next ones will be casual, right? The next of these streams will be casual, right?
I think we're going to alternate. So I think we're going to have the casual ones that Charisma's taking more head on. And then I'm going to try to do more rumbles, more one-on-one kind of thing. So it's going to be a mixed bag. But yeah, for the casual ones, I think the rule, Charisma, you can say more so, is kind of anyone can come on, speak their mind for a short amount of time. And
essentially with the casual stream, what I like to do is say, okay, we're going to stream this day at this time. If you're free and you'd like to come on, go ahead, bring a topic you want to discuss, hang out, and then we can boot you out at any point. So, if you want to hang out for 5 minutes, cool. If I feel like you want to hang out for another 15, cool. But it's very casual, right? So I make it casual on purpose. I'm a casual person.
Yeah.
But we do like this format as well. I think you guys both prove that this format's cool, where we can have one-on-ones and you guys can talk about different topics that we set out for you. So yeah, there will be some with structure like this, and then there'll be some that are casual. Louise, I'd love to have you on a casual stream as well if you just want to come hang out for a little bit. You're always welcome on my streams. Elvis, you know that the same applies to you as well. And I really appreciate you both coming on today. I know that it's hard to make that jump sometimes, especially for you both, because you're not necessarily people that stream or anything like that. And plus you didn't know what to expect really with the topics, how the nature of the conversation was going to go. And up until now, it's been mostly hostility in text. So I just want to say I'm really proud of you both for having this conversation, for showing up, for being civil. and for making interesting discussions. Thank you.
Dallas in the chat says webcam next time. You would just love to see me, wouldn't you? I would love to see me. I can't do a webcam or else I'm gonna get a fucking Goodbye Horses scenario going. Yeah.
You break the internet. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, cool. Well, thanks, guys. That was a lot of fun. I thought you both were good. I thought it was both entertaining from both sides. So,
and thank you to everyone who is in the chat as well, watching. We will have a casual stream soon. I announce them when I feel like announcing them.
they're that fucking casual.
Casual.
Jesus.
So I will definitely. I know there was quite a few people who did want to jump in on this one. The point of this one was I didn't want to dogpile either side. So I didn't want to have too many people on Louise's side. I didn't want to have too many people on Elvis's side.
Yeah.
So I think this was good for this specific stream, but I would love to have some casual ones as well with you guys soon.
The Rumbles are going to be more one-on-one, but maybe we'll do a tag team bout, maybe a 2v2.
It's all up in the air, but
maybe a battle royale. We'll see. We'll see.
All up in the air, but regardless, I appreciate all of you coming out, and yeah, we'll close it out now. Take care.
Bye.
Yeah.